Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the April 13th, 2026 meeting of the Haverford Township Board of Commissioners. Before we begin, I'd like to make a note that a Board of Commissioners met in executive session following the April 7th Board of Commissioners meeting to discuss a personnel-related matter. We also met this evening to discuss legal and personnel-related matters. We'll begin the meeting with a roll call. I'll ask our Township Manager, Dave Berman, to now please take the roll.
Commissioner Gondek.
Present.
Commissioner Forstey-Grupp.
Here.
Commissioner Cavender.
Here.
Commissioner Holmes.
Here.
Commissioner Quinn.
Here.
Commissioner Hart.
Here.
Commissioner McCullum.
Here.
Commissioner McCluskey.
Here.
Commissioner Trombetta.
Here, thank you. I now ask everyone to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, led by our Chief of Police. Please remove your hats. Chief, thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless America.
Thank you. Well, yes, Commissioner Holmes.
Madam President, I move that we adjust the agenda to move proclamations in number 3 ahead of Police Department and Civil Service Commission number 2 on the agenda. Second.
Heard first and a second. All those in favor of moving the Police Department appointment to later in the meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? That motion carries. So we'll move on to proclamations, beginning with our proclamation recognizing the USA/Finland exchange.
Madam President,
Yes, Commissioner Holmes.
a number of us had the pleasure of participating at the ceremonial puck drop on April 2nd at the stadium to celebrate the 26th season of the Finland and Haverford skating international competition that's been going on now for several decades. And at that puck drop, we read a proclamation, and we'd like to read it tonight into the record. Whereas the Board of Commissioners of the Township of Haverford, County of Delaware, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, welcomes the families and players of the Vikinget Hockey Club of Helsinki, Finland. And whereas the Hawks is a not-for-profit 501c3 organization that teaches children ages 4 to 18 the sport and spirit of hockey and calls the Haverford Stadium its home. And whereas each year the teams exchange home ice with the Hawks visiting Finland in 2025 and learning to enjoy and to appreciate its culture. Now in 2026, we welcome the Finns to Haverford Township to enjoy and appreciate our culture here in the United States. And whereas this exceptional cultural exchange program provides local players and their families with a unique opportunity to learn about and experience different cultures while playing the sport they love. And whereas the goal of the exchange is to harness the love of hockey and use it to develop friendships with players and families from across the globe. Over the years, many of the bonds built through the Finland-USA exchange have become lifelong friendships. These friendships inspire a curiosity for travel and learning while providing an education far beyond what we learn on the ice or in the classroom. And now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Board of Commissioners of the Township of Haverford wish both the Haverford Hawks and the Vikinget Hockey Club a week full of great competition, a deeper understanding of international culture, and lasting memories. Proclaimed this 13th day of April, 2026.
Thank you, Commissioner Holmes. We will now enjoy a presentation of a proclamation recognizing National Library Week in the Township of Haverford. This will be read by Commissioner Sherry Forstey-Grupp. Commissioner Forstey-Grupp, the floor is yours.
A proclamation of the Township of Haverford. Whereas libraries spark creativity, fuel imagination, and inspire lifelong learning, offering a space where individuals of all ages can explore new ideas and be drawn to new possibilities. Whereas libraries serve as vibrant community hubs, connecting people with knowledge, technology, and resources while fostering civic engagement, critical thinking, and lifelong learning. Whereas libraries provide free and equitable access to books, digital tools, and innovative programming, ensuring that all individuals, regardless of background, have the support they need to learn, connect, and thrive. Whereas the PA Forward Literacy is Power initiative highlights how libraries and staffs encourage literacy in basic information, civic and social, health, and financial, which contributes to greater personal and community success. Whereas libraries partner with schools, businesses, and organizations, connecting the dots to maximize resources, increase efficiency, and expand access to essential services, strengthening the entire community. Whereas libraries empower job seekers, entrepreneurs, and lifelong learners by providing access to resources, training, and opportunities that support career growth and economic success. Whereas libraries nurture young minds through story times, STEAM programs, and literacy initiatives, fostering curiosity and a love of learning that lasts a lifetime. Whereas libraries empower job seekers. Oh, I just read that one, I'm sorry. Whereas getting a library card is a financially literate action. Whereas libraries, librarians, and library workers across the country are joining together to celebrate National Library Week under the theme, quote, "Find your joy," end of quote. Now therefore be it resolved that Haverford Township Board of Commissioners proclaims National Library Week April 19th to the 25th, 2026. During this week, the board encourages all residents to visit Haverford Township Free Library, which celebrates the one-year anniversary of its reopening in May, to explore its resources and celebrate all the ways that the library helps the community find joy. Proclaimed this 13th day of April, 2026. I'd like to invite library representatives to come forward to accept their plaque.
Regina and Maggie, if you want to get into a picture, get in. No? Okay. You're welcome. Thank you, Commissioner Forresty Grubb. We'll now enjoy a reading of a proclamation recognizing Arbor Day in the Township of Haverford. This will be read by Commissioner Jerry Hart. Commissioner Hart, the floor is yours.
Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. And whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Haverford Township Board of Commissioners do hereby proclaim the last Friday in April as Arbor Day in Haverford Township, and urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees, parks, and woodlands. And be it further resolved that the Board of Commissioners of the Township of Haverford urge all citizens to plant and care for trees, to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. Proclaimed this 13th day of April, 2026.
Thank you, Commissioner Hart. Finally, we'll enjoy a reading of a proclamation recognizing Autism Acceptance Month in the Township of Haverford. This will be read by Commissioner Laura Cavender. Commissioner Cavender, the floor is yours.
Thank you. A proclamation of the Township of Haverford recognizing April as Autism Acceptance Month. Whereas autism spectrum disorder is a neurodevelopmental condition recognized for nearly a century and one whose understanding has evolved significantly through decades of research, advocacy, and most importantly, the voices of autistic people themselves. And whereas autism is a spectrum, meaning it manifests differently in every individual, and that scientific consensus affirms autism as a naturally occurring neurological variation, not a disease, epidemic, or preventable condition, and that language framing autistic lives as burdens or failures causes real harm to individuals, families, and communities. And whereas leading researchers and clinicians increasingly affirm that strengths-based, neuroaffirming approaches which foster autistic identity, build on an individual's gifts, and modify environments to remove barriers to participation, produce better outcomes for well-being and community participation than frameworks focused on normalizing autistic behavior. And whereas autistic individuals bring distinctive perspectives, problem-solving approaches, and capabilities, often including exceptional pattern recognition, attention to detail, systems thinking, and focused expertise that neurotypical workplaces often overlook, and that organizations and communities which actively embrace neurodivergent talent are measurably more innovative and effective as a result. And whereas Haverford Township celebrates the strengths, talents, and contributions of autistic residents, both speaking and non-speaking, and reaffirms its commitment to expanding inclusive programs, accessible infrastructure, and services that allow every resident to participate fully in our civic, cultural, and recreational life. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Commissioners of the Township of Haverford hereby proclaims April 2026 as Autism Acceptance Month in the Township of Haverford and encourages all residents to promote understanding and genuine inclusion in all areas of community life, learn from autistic-led organizations, and center autistic voices in decisions that affect them, advocate for greater access and representation in education, healthcare, employment, and civic life, and reject stigma and deficit-based language in favor of affirming the dignity, worth, and full humanity of every autistic person. Be it further resolved that Haverford Township remains committed to fostering a welcoming and inclusive community where all residents, regardless of ability or neurotype, are valued, supported, and empowered to thrive. Proclaim this 13th day of April 2026, Township of Haverford.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Cavender. So I will now invite Civil Service Commission Administrator, Mr. Bernard McCabe, to join us at the podium and offer his remarks. Mr. McCabe.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you very much for your time. I'm here today to present the next three candidates for one selection for patrol officer for Haverford Township Police Department. Three names are Jack Mick, Gianna Coyle, Gabrielle Gray.
Thank you, Mr. McCabe. I'll now entertain a motion.
Motion to appoint Gianna Coyle as the Haverford Township entry-level police officer effective May 1st, 2026.
And I'll second.
Heard a motion and a second. Are there any other nominations at this time? I heard a motion to close. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of closing nominations, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? And the board will now consider appointing Gianna Coyle as Haverford Township entry-level police officer effective May 1st, 2026. We'll take a roll call. Mr.
Commissioner
Berman.
Gondik.
Gianna Coyle.
Commissioner Forresty-Grubb.
Ms. Coyle.
Commissioner Cavender.
Gianna Coyle.
Commissioner Holmes.
Gianna Coyle.
Commissioner Quinn.
Yes.
Commissioner Hart.
Gianna Coyle.
Commissioner McCullum.
Gianna Coyle.
Commissioner McCluskey.
Gianna Coyle.
Commissioner Trombetta.
Gianna Coyle. Congratulations, Officer Coyle.
So if I could, Commissioners, Gianna Coyle comes from the Delaware County Sheriff's Office, I'm sorry. She's 24 years old, was raised in Chester County. She graduated from East Stroudsburg University with her bachelor's degree in criminal justice in 2023. She's also a graduate of the PA Sheriff's Academy, and she's been employed at Delaware County Sheriff's Office for 2.5 years, and she will begin the Temple Police Academy for her accreditation on May the 4th. So I present Jana Coyle right down the line.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I'm going to say a quick word then. Commissioners, I just want to take a moment to thank the hard work of the Civil Service Commission. It takes a lot of work to this testing process with interviews, background checks, physical agility testing, and they put a lot into it, of course, from our commissioners supporting the police department to keep our numbers up and keep us the first-rate police department that we are in Delaware County. Thank you again.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Mr. McCabe. If anybody wishes to leave at this time to take photos, that's totally acceptable, but I'm going to continue on with the citizens forum now at this point. But thank you all for being here. So again, we'll move on to the citizens forum. This is the portion of the meeting during which we invite our registered speakers to share their remarks. Afterward, we'll open the floor to members of the audience who wish to speak about items on tonight's agenda. Please note that if you wish to speak about a matter not on tonight's agenda and you're not registered, there will be a second citizens forum later in the meeting for those remarks. Each speaker will be given approximately 3 minutes to share their remarks. With that, I'll now invite our first registered speaker to this podium. That's Miss Danielle Staley, Ward 6. Welcome.
Good evening, and thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. My name is Danielle Staley, and I'm a long-term resident of the 6th Ward of Haverford Township. I was born here, I grew up here, I came back to raise my family here. I would like to begin by saying one of the aspects that sets Haverford Township apart is that the residents understand that supporting new, greener initiatives is an important form of ensuring our community's tranquility and long-term health. I'm here as a concerned member of the community to express my concern about the use of gas-powered lawn and garden equipment. The first negative aspect I would like to address is the noise generated by this equipment. On many weekends, my neighborhood is inundated with persistent noise from this equipment. Landscaping crews often service multiple homes on Saturdays and Sundays, sometimes starting before 8 a.m. and continuing well into the afternoon. This isn't just occasional noise, it's hours of constant disruption. I work early mornings during the week, and like many residents, I look forward to a slower, quieter start with my family on weekends. Unfortunately, the piercing noise of this equipment takes away that much-needed time for rest and calm. Beyond the noise, I have serious concerns about the pollution generated by the gas-powered lawn equipment. This equipment releases harmful pollutants, including benzene and formaldehyde, which are linked to cancer, lung disease, and asthma. Asthma affects not only me and my daughter, but also my father and my nephews, who are all Ward 6 residents. So this issue is not abstract for us, it's deeply personal. My family, as well as all residents of Haverford Township, in addition to the workers using this landscaping equipment, would be able to breathe easier if we pivot from gas-powered engines. Finally, as a high school chemistry and biology teacher, I think it's important to recognize a broader pattern here. As a society, we often relied on chemicals and technologies that we later discovered to be harmful. Leaded gasoline, single-use plastic bags, and forever chemicals are just a few examples. Over time, we luckily have recognized the harms caused by these chemicals and technologies, and we've made the decision to move towards safer alternatives. I believe we are at a similar moment with small gas-powered engines. Haverford Township should continue its longstanding commitment to keeping our community peaceful and green. The township should take thoughtful steps towards reducing and/or phasing out gas-powered lawn equipment in favor of quieter and cleaner options. I strongly support efforts to move in this direction. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Staley. All right, we'll now move on to our second registered speaker, Ms. Diane Drentlaw from Ward 5. Welcome, Mr. Unlaw.
Good evening, Commissioners, and thanks for the opportunity to address you. I'm here as a resident of the 5th Ward and the Polo Field neighborhood to speak about the Polo Field Fund, which is the $275,000 fund received from Lower Merion School District for improvements to neighborhood resources at the Polo Field. As commissioners, you'll hear recommendations for fund use in coming months. This fund represents a unique opportunity for our neighborhood. Neighbors love this park and feel strongly about enhancing community use. Last year, the Polo Field Focus Group, a panel picked by Haverford Township to include some residents of our neighborhood, met numerous times over a 9-month period with Parks and Rec staff to discuss options for using the fund. I greatly appreciate their work to review possible options. Last fall, they voted to commit about 1/3 of the fund to replacing playground equipment and to add some adult exercise equipment. They came up with a list of other possible investments. A pavilion was also recommended by the Parks and Rec Advisory Committee. With the focus group list available, it was time to solicit input from community residents. Our neighborhood civic association has a standing polo field committee, of which I'm a member. This committee drafted, refined, and conducted a survey in which residents could rank priorities for improvements and how they wish to see the fund used. Much effort was taken to make the survey accessible, clear, user-friendly, and neutral. Responses were solicited from every household on streets surrounding the park, either in person or by personalized email, with near 100% participation from streets of Polo, Dayton, Rugby, and more. The BCA also distributed the survey via email. Results exceeded expectations, with 144 completed in a 2-week period. This was approximately double the number of a township questionnaire from a year earlier, which was used by the focus group. I'm going to share a written summary for you all in just a couple of minutes, but want to note some highlights here. A walking path. The most popular addition to the park was a walking path. Park planning. Respondents overwhelmingly supported professional park planning by a factor of 4 to 1. Plantings and benches. The community overwhelmingly supported additional plantings, trees, and seating. Over 50% of respondents volunteered to help. Pavilion. 48% of respondents were opposed to spending $100,000 on a pavilion, while about 29% were in favor. This 12-page report I'll hand out represents just excerpts from the full report of 31 pages. I urge you to view the full report when you have time by going to the URL, which is on the front cover. It's tinyurl/Polo Field Fund Survey. It's my understanding that the Polo Field Focus Group has settled on a final list of recommendations, and I'm pleased that professional planning was among them, with additional seating and new plantings. A park planning firm will be providing a schematic layout of the park perimeter with suggestions for current and future amenities in coming weeks.
Ms. Gentlaw, forgive my interruption, but we're past the 3-minute mark, so if you don't mind wrapping up your remarks, we'd greatly appreciate it.
I will.
Thank you.
I was concerned, however, that the focus group recommended building a pavilion, which would require about 60% of the remaining funds. I fear our neighborhood would view this not as an investment, but more for the neighbors, but more for outside users. So my last comment is, the survey demonstrates that 144 residents found important issues. And I hope you see this as an opportunity to hear what these neighbors had to say and why. As a pavilion ranked lower than other improvements, we urge you to engage with our neighbors on this, even if the township really wants pavilions in all of our parks. Please schedule discussions right in our neighborhood. Our local Polo Field Cleanup Day is this Saturday, April 18th, and that's one such opportunity for these kinds of discussions. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Ms. Drumlaw. All right, I will move on to our final registered speaker. That's Rosalind Spiegel. Ms. Spiegel, welcome.
Well, I appreciate that last report. I was a respondent to the survey, so thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm here representing the Haverford Human Relations Commission, created by the Board of Commissioners to support the Haverford Township Anti-Discrimination Ordinance. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. Oh, hey. For those who don't know, anyone who believes they have been discriminated against within the township in the areas of housing, employment, or public accommodations can file a complaint with the HHRC. In addition to enforcement, the HHRC works to promote mutual respect, understanding, and fairness among all members of the Haverford Township community. Tonight, I'm bringing to our attention that April is a month for a lot of proclamations, but April is also Arab American Heritage Month. As a Jewish member of the HHRC, I feel particularly privileged to highlight some of the common ground our immigrant communities share, since we are all here as immigrants on Lenni Lenape land. Like other immigrant communities, Arab Americans have made invaluable contributions to our cultural, economic, academic, and civil life, enriching our nation and communities with their diverse traditions, languages, and histories. Americans of Arab descent trace their heritage to more than 20 countries across the Middle East and North Africa, bringing a rich tapestry of customs, perspectives, and faiths. Contrary to popular misconception, most Arab Americans are Christian. This diverse group strengthens the economic and cultural fabric of Haverford Township. Haverford Township is proud of its diversity and is committed to being a welcoming and inclusive community where all residents are valued and respected. Arab American Heritage Month provides an important opportunity to recognize and celebrate the achievement and contributions of Americans of Arab descent, to recognize their enduring legacy, and to promote greater understanding, inclusion, and unity among all residents. The HHRC encourages educational and cultural activities that build bridges across cultures and strengthen our shared community. We invite all residents to learn about and join in celebrating the heritage, culture, and contributions of Americans of Arab descent. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Spiegel. So we've now exhausted our list of registered speakers. I now invite members of the public who wish to speak on an agenda item this evening. So I'll start on the left-hand side, first row, second row, third row. I'm losing track of the rows, but sir, it looks like you're ready to speak, so. Welcome. Please state your name and where you're from.
My name's Jay Graytalk, Ward 7, resident of Woodmere Way. I appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight, and I appreciate Commissioner Quinn giving us some feedback from last meeting. We were here last week. My wife and I and another resident of Woodmere Way are here tonight to talk about Ordinance P6, 2026, and restricting parking on Woodmere Way. We found it fascinating that this is the first time it's come up, and it came up this year because of one snowstorm. Snowstorm that did make it difficult for folks to get up and down the roadway, and made it challenging, certainly for fire and rescue, to get up and down the roadway. Prior to that, I believe there's not been an issue brought to the commissioners with regards to parking on Woodmere Way. That snow removal was an issue for some. It wasn't necessarily an issue for us, but in the process created a situation that was not safe. Prior to that, again, there was no issue. We would like the commissioners to think of maybe something that is a creative alternative to solving this problem, and instead of just restricting folks from parking on Woodmere Way. In our neighborhood, we moved there knowing full well that there was a school there. We know these children want to drive and get to work after school. And just by restricting parking on Woodmere, it's only going to continue to exacerbate the problem to our friends that live on Ridgeway. So we are aware of that. We want to be good neighbors. We want to work with the township. We would even love to work with the kids in trying to develop some creative alternatives for where they could park. We know that building a parking lot is not within the economic bounds of the township, but certainly encouraging carpooling, encouraging opportunities to find ways to park on campus, as well as not restricting the parking on Woodmere. We also encourage opportunities to either increase on snow days, curb-to-curb plowing, as well as when we get to those corners where there are some issues with kids parking a little bit too close to stop signs, that maybe some yellow paint on some corners might help them. So to sum up, we would like the commissioners to consider not restricting parking on Woodmere, to allow it to stay as it was, because it is not a problem right now, and it was really only a problem for our concern on one day this year.
Thank you so much. Anybody else on the left-hand side? Sure, we'll give them a clap. Yes, Ms. Dowdy.
Good evening. My name is Dory Dowdy. I reside on Rosewood Lane in Haverford Township. I'm here to talk about this piece right here as it relates to Section 13 contracts in tonight's agenda. I have serious concerns about the public outreach for the zoning ordinance reorganization, the first major update in over 50 years. Many residents never received the postcard that announced both April 9th and May 14th Planning Commission meetings, one last Thursday. Others received it the day after the April 9th meeting, as I did, or later. My mother, who lives in Upper Darby Township, received one incorrectly addressed to my father, who has never lived at her address. A postcard was even delivered to 50 North Bryn Mawr Avenue in Bryn Mawr, which lies in Lower Merion Township, not Haverford Township. Dave Berman, the township's manager, briefly had a briefing video on YouTube uploaded on April 8th at 5:55 p.m., slightly more than 24 hours before the April 9th meeting, stating, "Have you received this postcard? If not, you're about to." Relying on slow, every-door direct mail for these two early meetings created unrealistic expectations and left many residents with insufficient time to review the draft or prepare input. So this is the 268 pages for the draft, the proposed one, and then subsequent to that, there's supporting documentations, which is 86 pages, totaling 254 pages to be reviewed in a very short time. No additional dedicated postcard outreach appears to be planned for the May 14th Planning Commission session. This creates something that's called performative engagement, the appearance of wanting robust public participation without the substance to make it actually occur. We saw the same pattern with the rushed comprehensive plan, the process that occurred in 2024 to 2025, where residents raised concerns about inadequate review time and limited opportunities for meaningful input. Tonight's change order of more than $50,000 before you allocates $6,000 for designing two simple 5/7/8 and 10 inch glossy postcards, what I just showed you, a cost that far exceeds typical market rates by 4 to 20 times the straightforward text-based only piece. I used to be a graphic designer. It just seems like it was an outrageous price. Another point demonstrating how well the postcard performed at the April 9th meeting, which I did attend in person, which was quite poorly attended at most by 8 residents, most likely due to the postcard mailing process we use. I spoke about the need for stronger protection on traffic, densities, and reversed mixed-use and reserved mixed-use districts that could otherwise allow higher density development later. I appreciated the live dialogue, but the contentious exchange with Director Gelosian highlighted how rushed processes breed frustration when staff responses feel defensive. I strongly urge the board to, 1, thoroughly review the outreach failures, including mailing list accuracy and delivery issues. 2, adopt better outreach methods going forward, such as first class or certified mail for key meetings, multiple advanced digital and print reminders, and at least one in-person open house or workshop. Nobody proactively reads the township website. I'm sorry, you guys, nor do they read legal notices in antiquated newspapers. Perhaps updating your outreach process needs a review. 3, guarantee at least 2 to 4 weeks of reliable advance notice for public hearings that are happening this summer and any future phases. 4, instruct staff to handle public comment with greater patience so residents can meaningfully participate, which is what you all want, right? The zoning rewrite will shape our township for decades. Our township deserves a zoning update grounded in real resident voices, not just the appearance of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dowdy. Mr. Lee?
Hi, my name's Mike Lee. I'm a township resident. I also went to the other meeting the other night. I also did not receive a postcard. As the previous speaker said, it's 250 pages. When we went, the postcard that Mr. Burns put out, I looked online for it. It said that residents should come at 7 p.m. We didn't even start talking about anything till 9 p.m. There's a lot of other topics. And I thought that Mr. Teska's a speech that he gave had nothing to do with what residents would be interested in. So obviously, you're going to reschedule this. And so I would hope that you would schedule it so that it would be at 7 o'clock or the time you have on the card, and that we have a presentation by Mr. Teska that is geared towards residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. Anybody else on the left-hand side regarding an agenda item? Anybody on the right-hand side? Anybody on the right-hand side regarding an agenda item? Very well, then I'll open up the floor. Oh, yes, sir.
Good morning. My name is Ed Dobbs. I'm from Westgate Hills. I don't know what word it is.
That's okay, that's great. Thank you.
I'm here tonight because of the environmental thing that people are pushing for the lawn care and the gas engine. For the
So
small
forgive me, I'm
engines.
going to have you speak at the second citizens forum because that is not an agenda item this evening. So there's a second citizens forum later in the meeting. This is reserved for agenda items only, with the exception of those who are registered speakers.
Okay.
So thank you. Just bear with us. Thank you. All right. So I'm now going to open up the floor to my colleagues to see if anybody would like to respond to remarks brought up during this first citizens forum.
I just want to talk about the Woodmere Way thing real fast. I will vote for this tonight, but I will continue to work with everybody from Woodmere Way and the police to find out ways to solve the issues with all the parking over there. But I will vote for this tonight, but I will continue to be in contact with all of you. So thank you guys for coming tonight.
Thank you, Commissioner Quinn. Do any of my colleagues have any further comments at this time?
I just want to make a couple comments on Ms. Drentlaw's comments about Polo Field. And just to note, I was going to announce later in the meeting, I'm having a town hall meeting on May 12th, location to be decided. And that will be one of the, I assume, pretty big topics on the agenda. It'll be an update on a number of things. So I will look forward to hearing more. We did have the one meeting that at the library that we talked about the survey results, and I have read the survey results closely. So I'll look forward to talking further at that meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Cavender. Further remarks? So I'll just clarify again that there is nothing upon our board today regarding gas or electrical or gas leaf blowers. So it still is obviously an area of interest to some, and we're happy to discuss that further during the second citizens forum. But at this time, there's nothing under consideration by our board. So that said, I'm going to move on to the Bureau of Fire update. Commissioner Gondek, the floor is yours.
Thank you. The Haverford Township Bureau of Fire report for March 2026. Total incidents are 69, 52 were township incidents, and 17 were out-of-township mutual aid incidents. Average personnel per call was 10. We had 430 personnel hours committed to incidents and 875 personnel hours committed to training. The Haverford Township Bureau of Fire provided mutual aid to 6 working fires within Delaware County. For the month of March, our ambulances had 474 dispatches, resulting in 397 charts, 265 patient transports, and had out-of-township coverage 95 times. The only other thing that I would add to the report is that the fire companies are actively, our township is privileged to be supported by 5 volunteer fire companies. Those volunteer fire companies are actively starting their solicitations for annual dues. I would encourage anyone upon receiving this solicitation to make the contribution to the fire companies. Our township, or I should say the fire companies that support our township are among some of the best in not just the county, but in the state. We are blessed to have an all-volunteer force. And I can say that by maintaining an all-volunteer force, they are in fact saving our taxpayers millions of dollars a year. The requested contribution is nominal. If you are able to make it, I would strongly encourage you to participate in it as a way to help support these fire companies and keep our volunteerism strong. That is the report.
Thank you, Commissioner Gondek. Do my colleagues have any questions for Mr. Gondek at this time? And hearing none, we'll move on to our Township Auditor update by Mr. Ross Anderson. Mr. Anderson, the floor is yours.
So even though it's not on the agenda, I can definitely appreciate everybody's passion against the gas-powered lawnmowers and leaf blowers. They're loud and electric's just much better and quieter. I also got to say, I achieved quite the feat this past week. Out of 50, I was in 37th place, and then in my NCAA hoops bracket, thank you, Go Blue, I ended up in 3rd because they won it all. Anyways, I've reviewed the warrants and expenditures for this meetings, and all my questions were answered to my satisfaction. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Any questions for Mr. Anderson? And hearing none, we'll move on to our, go ahead. Commissioner McCluskey.
There's some confusion in the room right now. So just to reiterate, the discussion of gas-powered engines is not on the agenda. No one's voting on it. I don't know if there was an assumption that there was. The way this works is if you're a registered speaker, you can talk about whatever you want, and then there's an opportunity for anybody to talk about an agenda item. There is no vote on anything to do with any gas-powered engines here tonight. So therefore, it's not.
Respectfully, can the auditor bring
No.
that up in public comment?
I'm just reiterating.
Thank you. We're not going to do this back and forth, though. Thank you. So no, I'm so sorry. We're going to continue moving on. Okay. Okay. No, well, I appreciate that. Thank you. So Mr. Anderson, can you offer your final remark regarding your audit? Exclusively about your audit, please. Correct. What were your findings? Please come up to the podium. Thank you.
I reviewed the warrants and expenditures for this meeting.
Can you please speak into the mic? Sorry, they're straining to hear you.
All right. I reviewed the warrants and expenditures for this meeting. All my questions were answered to my satisfaction, and that's it. Everything's good.
Thank you.
Madam President, in the future, can we make it clear that the auditor is not supposed to be giving his public opinion on things that are out there? And just
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner McCollum. Let's move on to the Township Manager update, please. Mr. Berman.
So I don't have a proclamation, but I will tell you that this week is National Local Government Week. It's supported by organizations like the National League of Cities. And it's a good reminder to stop and think about local government and where all the work that we do here, particularly the people who work here, the police, fire, roads, trash and recycling, sanitary and storm sewers, leaf collection, building and zoning, planning, code enforcement, parks and rec, the CREC, the stadium. There's so much that goes on here at local government, and it's important, especially during National Local Government Week, to talk about that and to just understand that there are a lot of good people who work here that are doing really good work for the community. A lot of that work happens behind the scenes as well, planning and coordination, finance and budgeting, human resources, IT, all that stuff. And we don't all see that every day, but there are many good people who work here doing really good work. So this week, it's worth remembering all those people and how it all fits together. I will say that's one of the reasons we started doing that township manager briefing. So far, we've done 4 of these little videos. I can't believe it. There have been 27,000 views of those videos. And of those, 80% are unique viewers. So over 21,000 people have looked at these videos, which it just boggles the mind. But it tells you that people, and a couple people pointed that out, they don't really read things today. They don't even read a Facebook post. They don't read the Constant Contact newsletters, but I'll talk about that in a minute. But they will look at a video for 30 seconds a minute. Speaking of which, Constant Contact, we do send those emails usually on Fridays. So far, during the same period of time that we did those videos, we've sent 15,000 Constant Contact newsletters, and almost 10,000 of those have been opened. We can see who's opened them, who's read them. So that's over 63% of them have been opened. And they all have information in there, many of them about the zoning and all kinds of things that are happening. So we do try to support that with postcards and mailers and the Have a Good Times newsletter. We send out 17,000 of those newsletters 3 times a year. That's, what is that, like over 50,000 communications that we send out a year. Sometimes we send out special newsletters, like when we're going to do a food waste collection. We're going to send out a special pamphlet, again, 17,000 of those. So we're trying to do all this communication, and I think it's going pretty well, but obviously those postcards went out late, and we do have to talk to the contractor about that. Again, we're trying to meet people where they are. 6 hours a day, on average, people spend on these things, and that's the best way to reach them, and that's what we're trying to do. So anyway, local government week, it works best when people get involved, stay engaged, and when they respect each other and have patience, and it goes both ways. And so that's all I'm going to say tonight. I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Berman. Any questions for Mr. Berman at this time? And hearing done, we'll move on to approval of warrants. That's agenda item number 7. I'll entertain a motion.
Madam President.
Yes, Commissioner Holmes.
Madam President, I move we approve warrant number 4 of 2026 totaling $8,228,821.82, comprising the general and sewer fund payroll for March 12, 2026 in the amount of $902,869.35, general and sewer fund payroll for March 26, 2026 in the amount of $973,782.20, the general and sewer fund payroll for April 9th, 2026 in the amount of $812,832.34, general fund disbursements in the amount of $4,161,654.63, sewer fund disbursement in the amount of $561,360.73, community development block grant disbursement in the amount of $80,143.02, capital project fund disbursement in the amount of $253,191.30, the American Rescue Plan fund disbursements in the amount of $56,984.50, debt service in the 2023 Series A interest in the amount of $358,275, debt service in the 2023 Series B bonds interest in the amount of $56,284.31, and a credit card statement ending March 27th, 2026 in the amount of $11,444.44.
Heard a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Heard a motion and a second. The motion's open for discussion. Any questions or comments from my colleagues on the board regarding approval of warrants?
Our auditor has reviewed these warrants. Any questions he had were raised to our township finance director and answered to his satisfaction. He recommends we approve them, as do I.
Thank you, Commissioner Holmes. Further questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Mr. Berman.
Commissioner Gondik.
Yes.
Commissioner Forresty-Grubb.
Yes.
Commissioner Cavender.
Yes.
Commissioner Holmes.
Yes.
Commissioner Quinn.
Yes.
Commissioner Hart.
Yes.
Commissioner McCullum.
Yes.
Commissioner McCluskey.
Yes.
Commissioner Trombetta.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you. We'll now move on to agenda item number 8 to consider the approval of the items listed under the consent agenda. Please note that all items are detailed in the public packet. At this time, I'd like to ask my colleagues if anyone wishes to remove any items from the consent agenda for individual consideration later in the meeting. And hearing no requests, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I move to approve items A to D of the consent agenda as further detailed in the public packet.
Second.
Second.
For a motion and a second. Motion's now open for discussion. Any questions or comments from my colleagues on this board? And hearing none, Mr. Berman, please take the roll.
Commissioner Gondik.
Yes.
Commissioner Forresty-Grubb.
Yes.
Commissioner Cavender.
Yes.
Commissioner Holmes.
Yes.
Commissioner Quinn.
Yes.
Commissioner Hart.
Yes.
Commissioner McCullum.
Yes.
Commissioner McCluskey.
Yes.
Commissioner Trombetta.
Yes, motion carries. We'll now move on to agenda item number 10, the appointments. We have 2 vacancies to fill in our Shade Tree Commission. I'll begin by entertaining a motion for a first appointment to the Shade Tree Commission.
President Trombetta, motion to appoint Matt Levesque to the Shade Tree Commission for a term ending December 31st, 2026.
And I'll second that.
Thank you. I've heard a motion and a second. Are there any other nominations at this time?
Motion to close.
I've heard a motion to close. Thank you. All those in favor of closing, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? Then the board will consider by yes to no vote, Mr. How do you pronounce it since you're here? Levesque. Thank you. Mr. Levesque. Mr. Berman, please take the roll.
Commissioner Gondik.
Yes.
Commissioner Forresty-Grubb.
Yes.
Commissioner Cavender.
Yes.
Commissioner Holmes.
Yes.
Commissioner Quinn.
Yes.
Commissioner Hart.
Yes.
Commissioner McCullum.
Yes.
Commissioner McCluskey.
Yes.
Commissioner Trombetta.
Yes, congratulations. All right, now yes.
Congrats.
President Trombetta, motion to appoint Jordan Heckinger to the Shade Tree Commission for a term ending December 31st, 2026.
And I'll second.
Heard a motion and a second. Any other nominations?
Motion to close.
Second.
Heard a motion to close in a second. All those in favor of closing, please say aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Then we will consider Mr. Jordan Heckinger at this time by yes to no vote. Mr. Berman, please take the roll.
Commissioner Gondik.
Yes.
Commissioner Forresty-Grubb.
Yes.
Commissioner Cavender.
Yes.
Commissioner Holmes.
Yes.
Commissioner Quinn.
Yes.
Commissioner Hart.
Yes.
Commissioner McCullum.
Yes.
Commissioner McCluskey.
Yes.
Commissioner Trombetta.
Yes. Congratulations to Mr. Heckinger.
Here.
All right, so we'll now move on to agenda item number 11, ordinances. We'll consider 4 ordinances tonight, beginning with the second reading of E3 2026. I'll now entertain a motion.
Motion to adopt the second reading of ordinance number P3 2026, further amending and supplementing ordinance 1960 adopted June 30th, 1986, and known as General Laws of the Township of Haverford, Chapter 175, Vehicles and Traffic, installing a special purpose parking zone in front of 171 Upland Road.
Heard a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Heard a motion and a second. The motion's open for discussion. Any questions or comments from my colleagues on this board? Hearing none, Mr. Berman, please take the roll.
Commissioner Gondik.
Yes.
Commissioner Forresty-Grubb.
Yes.
Commissioner Cavender.
Yes.
Commissioner Holmes.
Yes.
Commissioner Quinn.
Yes.
Commissioner Hart.
Yes.
Commissioner McCullum.
Yes.
Commissioner McCluskey.
Yes.
Commissioner Trombetta.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you. I'll now entertain a motion for ordinance number P4 2026.
Madam President,
Yes, Commissioner McCollum.
motion to adopt the second reading of ordinance number P4-2026, further amending and supplementing ordinance number 1960, adopted June 30th, 1986, and known as General Laws of the Township of Haverford, Chapter 175, Vehicles and Traffic, installing a special purpose parking zone in front of 24 Nancy Drive.
Second.
Heard a motion and a second. The motion's now open for discussion. Any questions or comments from my colleagues on this board? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Mr. Berman.
Commissioner Gondik.
Yes.
Commissioner Forresty-Grubb.
Yes.
Commissioner Cavender.
Yes.
Commissioner Holmes.
Yes.
Commissioner Quinn.
Yes.
Commissioner Hart.
Yes.
Commissioner McCullum.
Yes.
Commissioner McCluskey.
Yes.
Commissioner Trombetta.
Yes, motion carries. Will now entertain a motion for P5-2026.
Madam President.
Yes, Commissioner Holmes.
I move we adopt the second reading of ordinance number P5, 2026, further amending and supplementing ordinance number 1960, adopted June 30, 1986, known as the General Laws of the Township of Haverford, Chapter 175, Vehicles and Traffic, installing a special purpose parking zone in front of 2461 Winfield Road.
Is there a second? Thank you. I've heard a motion and a second. The motion's now open for discussion. Any questions or comments from my colleagues on the board? And hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Mr. Berman?
Commissioner Gondik.
Yes.
Commissioner Forresty Grubb.
Yes.
Commissioner Cavender.
Yes.
Commissioner Holmes.
Yes.
Commissioner Quinn.
Yes.
Commissioner Hart.
Yes.
Commissioner McCollum.
Yes.
Commissioner McCluskey.
Yes.
Commissioner Trombetta.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you. We'll now move on to P6-2026. I'll entertain a motion.
Yes, I make a motion to adopt the first reading of ordinance number P6-2026 for further amending and supplementing ordinance number 1960 adopted June 30th, 1986, and known as the General Laws of the Township of Haverford, Chapter 175, Vehicles and Traffic, prohibiting parking during school hours on a portion of Woodmere Way.
Is there a second?
Second.
Heard a motion and a second. The motion's now open for discussion. Do my colleagues have any comments or questions at this time?
Like, please, a little more clarity on what a portion of Woodmere Way actually means.
Sorry.
It says in the ordinance, it says on a portion of Woodmere Way.
Would be the entire length, but just on the east side.
Only the east side? Why that side?
Because with parking on both sides of the street, that's what was causing the congestion. So if they limited parking to one side, I guess the premise would be it would open the roadway up a little more. And the reason they picked the east side, it would be similar to what the other streets that have the same ordinance. It predates me, so I don't know why they picked that side, but the other streets have the same, it's the east side of the street as well. So I think they just decided they would just continue that practice of doing the east side. So.
Do we want, I'm wondering whether this ordinance should be amended to specify that it is the east side of Woodmere Way as opposed to just a portion of, because that seems rather vague to me.
I believe the actual
Ordinance says
ordinance
that.
will, once it gets put in the municipal code book, that's what it will say.
Yeah.
Okay, good, thank you.
I mean, it actually says it.
I'm just
Woodmere
looking
Way,
at the agenda.
east side. Yeah, no. But if you go to the actual ordinance, it indicates the east side from Mill Road to Ridgeway Road, which I think
Yeah.
is the
The actual ordinance will say it.
does.
Okay, thank you for that clarification, I apologize.
And I would also just like to say that this is the first reading of this, so it goes through two. So it'll be back in May, and as I said, I'll continue to work with everybody from Woodmere Way and the police. So if like any ideas, I know I got some ideas, and just continue to send them to me. So thank you.
Madam President.
Yes, Commissioner Holmes.
I wonder, Commissioner Quinn, if we could consider tabling this ordinance. Yes, it is a first reading, but it is still a law that we're passing. And if any revisions were made as a consequence of meetings with the police, we would have to republish it and do it again, depending on how substantial the changes are. I assume in the interest of neighborhood harmony that the gentleman who spoke to us before isn't a rogue member of the street, but was speaking on behalf of a number of folks who felt the way he did about examining other alternatives to just prohibiting parking and aiming that at students. So I'm going to formally right now move to table this ordinance tonight. So I have a motion to table.
Is there a second?
discuss it yet, right?
Second.
Okay,
Heard a motion to table and a second. All those in favor of tabling, please say aye.
Aye.
This is a voice vote for starters. I may have to go to a roll call. But as stands right now, all those in favor of tabling, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Say nay.
I think you better.
Unsure?
Better do a vote.
You want to do a roll call?
We can't discuss this, right? We can't discuss it.
There's a motion to table in a second now.
I'm for it, but I just wanted to say why. Okay, but yeah.
Okay. I think the motion to table is successful, so let's move forward. Thank you. It sounds like there'll be opportunities for more discussion. Thank you. Okay. So we have successfully tabled that motion. We'll now move on to a first reading of ordinance number P7-2026. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to adopt the first reading of ordinance number P7 of 2026, amending the zoning map of the township and changing the zoning classification of a portion of the property located at 24 South Eagle Road, Havertown, Delaware County, PA, consisting of approximately 4,738 square feet and identified as tax folio number 22-09-00678-00 from O1 Office District to R8 Guarded Apartment District, and further providing for severability and establishing an effective date upon enactment.
Second.
I've heard a motion and a second. The motion's now open for discussion. Any questions or comments from my colleagues?
The only comment I would have with regards to this one is just to reiterate that the only thing before this board on this motion is an amendment to the zoning map, which changes the designation. The actual underlying project that this particular developer is putting forward is not before us here. That project still has to go to zoning, it still has to go to planning, and then it still has to come back to us. Me personally, I am going to support the zoning map amendment, although I will clearly state on the record that I have severe reservations about the project itself, and I'm not in any way forecasting my support or opposition or anything towards that project. We'll cross that bridge when that project actually gets before us. But as far as the zoning map amendment, I am going to support this because I feel that it's a zoning principle that while this property in practice is split zoned, that split zone properties are something that we should avoid as a zoning map on the zoning map in our township. And given the two choices that are there, I think that this is the more appropriate choice. So for that reason, I will support this, but we'll see about the final project.
Thank you, Commissioner Gondek. Further comments or questions? And hearing that, we'll move to a vote on this. Mr. Berman.
Commissioner Gondek.
Yes.
Commissioner Forresty-Grubb.
Yes.
Commissioner Cavender.
Yes.
Commissioner Holmes.
Yes.
Commissioner Quinn.
Yes.
Commissioner Hart.
Yes.
Commissioner McCullum.
Yes.
Commissioner McCluskey.
Yes.
Commissioner Trombetta.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you. This exhausts our ordinance on the agenda this evening, so we'll move on to our resolutions. This evening, the board will consider one resolution. I'll entertain a motion.
Madam President,
Yes, Commissioner McCollum.
motion to adopt resolution number 2482-2026, amending the sewage facilities plan revision for 564 Central Avenue.
Second.
Heard a motion and a second. Motion's now open for discussion. Any questions or comments from my colleagues? Hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Mr. Berman, please take the roll.
Commissioner Gondek.
Yes.
Commissioner Forresty-Grubb.
Yes.
Commissioner Cavender.
Yes.
Commissioner Holmes.
Yes.
Commissioner Quinn.
Yes.
Commissioner Hart.
Yes.
Commissioner McCullum.
Yes.
Commissioner McCluskey.
Yes.
Commissioner Trombetta.
Yes, motion carries. We now move on to contracts this evening. So tonight we'll consider two, beginning with the contract award for composting services. I'll entertain a motion.
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to award a contract to Kitchen Harvest, Inc. for acceptance, handling, processing, and composting of organic materials at a rate of $60 per ton.
Second.
We've heard a first and a second. Any questions or comments from my colleagues on the board?
Could we have an overview again about what this composting program will entail and what advantage it gives to the township in terms of saving of money?
Broad overview, we currently collect just yard waste on Mondays. This will enable us to collect both yard waste, as we do now, and also food scraps, food waste that will be specifically, again, we will provide materials to residents to educate them on what can be put out there. It's mostly intended to be food waste such as vegetable waste and things of that nature. We will accept 5-gallon buckets sealed on the top like they do in many other communities nearby. And we will take this to, we will collect it, and on the same day, we will take it in the garbage truck to a place called Linvilla, which is where Kitchen Harvest operates. They have a DEP permit for the composting of food waste, and we will be charged $60 per ton, which is A, significantly less than what we pay per ton to throw it in the trash, and B, it is much closer than the place where we currently take our yard waste, which is way out in Bucks County. So it's a win for the township in a number of ways. Finally, we will also be allowed to begin using those brown biodegradable bags again, which a lot of people liked to use when they were putting their yard waste out. The current composting facility does not accept those bags, but this one at Kitchen Harvest at Linvilla does accept them. So in many ways, this is a real benefit to the township residents.
Thank you for that explanation. It does sound quite advantageous for us.
Thank you, Commissioner Forresty Grubb. Any further questions or comments? And hearing none, we'll take a vote. Mr. Berman, please.
I forgot to say, it's an optional program. Residents are not required to participate. They may do so. So it's an optional program. It's not required. And now I will take the roll call. Sorry about that. Commissioner Gondek.
Well, now that you clarified that, yes.
Commissioner Forresty Grubb.
Yes.
Commissioner Cavender.
Yes.
Commissioner Holmes.
Yes.
Commissioner Quinn.
Yes.
Commissioner Hart.
Yes.
Commissioner McCollum.
Yes.
Commissioner McCluskey.
Yes.
Commissioner Trombetta.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you. I'll now entertain a motion regarding a change order related to additional outreach for the zoning update.
President Trombetta, motion to approve a change order in the amount of $50,138 to FHI Studio, now IMEG, for 2 rounds of Every Door direct mailers.
Second.
For the motion is second. The motion is now open for discussion. Any questions or comments from my colleagues?
President, could you clarify what this actually is for? Like what the change is?
Previously, we were just going to send one out, not for this update, but for the next part of the update. But
thank you.
We added a mailer around.
Thank you. Further questions or comments?
And I assume, given the hiccup with the initial mailer, that we'll straighten out the logistics a little bit more under the management of the mailer, so everyone gets these 2 mailers with plenty of notice,
100%, absolutely.
and that the correct people get it.
Let me just say, we are as frustrated, if not more frustrated, than everybody who has already talked about this.
Yes, I believe that is true, because we are so intent on making sure that everyone in the township knows about this process, so that it is clear from every step of the way that we are desiring, wanting, soliciting, begging for the feedback of our residents, because we want this township rewrite, the zoning rewrite, to be successful for all of us. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Forresty Grubb.
My only comment, kind of in line with that, is I'm sure that the township will be working with this particular vendor to ensure that the next go-around goes more smoothly. I would just ask if the township, in their conversations, can also address the idea of possibly getting some level of a credit back, or at least some sort of credit towards a future additional service in furtherance of this particular project in light of this initial hiccup. Just want to make sure that all of our tax dollars are getting spent properly.
Thank you. Absolutely, we will do so.
Great point.
I'd like to make a comment. There was a presentation that FHI made at the Planning Commission meeting. I was wondering if we could get a link to that so that we can share with constituents.
That's already up on the haverfordzoning.com website.
Oh, good. Okay, so we can share that. And I do want to just reiterate that we understand it was a consultant that didn't get the mailing out and not our township staff. So thank you for all you're doing with the zoning ordinance. I know you mentioned this before, but this is also the first of 2 phases with the zoning ordinance, and this one is largely reformatting. There's no substantive changes, and we have had a steering committee reviewing it to make sure that's the case. When you put together a zoning ordinance over, and add things and edit things and revise them and create new definitions over the course of 40 years, it sort of is like a patchwork. So the first phase, and as I understand it, it's sort of a way to practice this engagement so that people know and they can get more engaged, is to revise it so that it's structured in a way that it can be most useful to residents and to the zoning officer in the township.
Thank you, Commissioner Cavender. Further comments, questions? And hearing none, we'll move to a vote. Mr. Berman?
Commissioner Gondek.
Yes.
Commissioner Forresty Grubb.
Yes.
Commissioner Cavender.
Yes.
Commissioner Holmes.
Yes.
Commissioner Quinn.
Yes.
Commissioner Hart.
Yes.
Commissioner McCullum.
Yes.
Commissioner McCluskey.
Yes.
Commissioner Trombetta.
Yes, motion carries. So thank you all for your patience. We'll now move on to the continuation of our citizens forum. This provides opportunities for members of the public who wish to address the board on any matter at this time, although it does have to pertain to official business. So I kindly ask you to use your 3 minutes to provide your comments or ask questions that you have. And with that, I will invite folks. I'm going to start on the right-hand side because I know we had some folks here who wanted to speak. So right-hand side, anybody who wishes to speak? You're kind of stuck with us now. Thank you.
All right. So as per hearing from what you're saying.
Start
my
with
name
your
is Edward
name.
Dobbs.
Thank you.
I don't know what ward I am, but I'm in Oxford Hill. My question is there such thing as this small engines things coming for Haverford Town?
Use your 3 minutes to offer any comments and remarks, and we'll conclude.
I'm
at the end.
asking because of all the stuff that I'm hearing of what's going on. I hear everything from what they're stating about their emissions and all this other stuff. And I just want to go on a show about the steel websites and stuff and the low emissions that they have for engines and all this stuff that they do provide for 0 to low emissions for small engines. I just wanted to also go ahead and state that we did go ahead and purchase leaf blowing battery powered equipment, and it's not even half of what a commercial blower is. Mm-hmm. And my concerns is are we going to be able to produce with all the trees and all the stuff that we're planting and all this other, or are we going to be able to produce and still do the quality of craftsmanship that we are today to do the work that is out in the field and for the lawns that we do. Sorry, I'm getting nervous.
No, that's great. You're doing great.
I think that's about it.
Thank you. Can we take that?
I can give a comment.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Just briefly, you live in the first ward. I'm the first ward commissioner, and if you'd like to hang out for a few minutes after this meeting, I'd be more than happy to talk to you and answer your questions.
I appreciate that.
Thank you. Anybody else? Thank you. Anybody else on the right-hand side wish to speak this evening? And anybody on the left-hand side? Mr. Lee, we're going with Mr. Lee because he shot up his hand first. Mr. Lee, you're up.
I had 2 questions. It's Mike Lee from Haverford Township resident. One, are we going to have a redo of the meeting from the other night? I think it's really important. And since residents didn't get a chance to hear the presentation, and I think we really need to have something geared towards residents. And the second thing I wanted to mention was, I've gone through these documents, there's like 250 pages, and I think it's a fiction that this has not been updated. It's not a rewrite just, it's totally changed. And I would like to see Mr. Teska and people like that support the statement that it's just, it's no changes. I don't think that's possible. And then I wanted to talk about the thing at 24 South Eagle Road. That's connected right next to our single-family homes. That's been a single-family home for 125 years now, from what Zillow says. So the question is, why was that zoned at R7 when the requirement for that is 2 acres and it's only half an acre? So I don't think we should be assuming that it should go to be R7.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. Todd, you'll be next.
Hi, I'm Meg Wagner, and I'm in Ward 6 on Rosewood Lane. I wanted to talk to you about my statement at the Planning Commission meeting on Thursday. But first, I just have to tell you I did not get a postcard either. I was forwarded Commissioner Forstey-Grupp's email sent to her constituents about the zoning rewrite. I also knew about it from Commissioner Hart's comments at a previous meeting that we were having that. I'm under the opinion that Commissioner Forstey-Grupp's email was the same thing as Dave Berman referenced in his YouTube video that I saw on Friday, an invitation to the Planning Commission meeting. In many of my previous statements, I've alluded to a lack of accuracy or even incompetence and stated we, Haverford Township residents, deserve better. I've even said that I do not trust this board or township management. My commissioner, Mr. Holmes, has said that he wants to win back my trust. Well, this rollout did not do that. My statement Thursday at the Planning Commission, bear with me, was my concern with the ROS, which stands for Recreation Open Space, for anyone that doesn't know that, on Grassland, Oak, and Laurel. By the map included with the zoning update, the ROS cut into family home lots across Grassland. So all of those homes were listed as open space. I was told I was not accurate. Mr. Capuzzi and Ms. Dobbs pulled out their maps to show me my error. That's right, I mean, it was zoned. It was not until Victor Cortez, also of the Planning Commission, pulled up the map that I referenced online with the zoning info that everybody said, oh, that's the wrong map. That's the interactive map, not the zoning map. Transparency or incompetence? Again, as in the release of the comprehensive plan on the Friday before Christmas with a 45-day window for review. As someone attempting to participate responsibly in this first major zoning update in over 50 years, I was relying on information provided directly by the township officials. Distributing an incorrect map undermines trust in the entire process. I asked the board to ensure that only the accurate official zoning maps are distributed or referenced by staff and commissioners in connection with this project. Please clarify how the interactive map differs from the official zoning map and why it was shared with this project. Please direct staff to verify the accuracy of all future materials before they are provided to residents or commissioners. Accurate information is essential for meaningful public participation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wagner. Mr. Hall.
Good evening, Todd Hall, Ward 2. I'm sorry for my call out, as they call them at Delaware County Council meetings earlier, and sorry for being late. I was at Marple Township advising them, quote, Marple Township is a fine community. But in all seriousness, the person who spoke after me spoke about over-the-counter opioids available in our gas stations, convenience stores, and that person's addiction to them. I didn't even know this was a thing. So this shows the importance of engagement in local government and learning from each other. I'd like to thank the Haverford Police Department for their work with their Secret Service and the Philadelphia Police Department to help with traffic and protection when the Prime Minister of Ireland passed through our township last month. And also, speaking of last month, in late March, our township was the home of No Kings Part 3. As far as Part 3 is concerned, with the possibility there could be another one, organizers should look to movie sequels that don't perform well after the first three, like Jaws 4, Rocky 5, Superman 4. I do take the opportunity in seriousness to thank the multiple commissioners who advised me of the costs of the event to the township, advising it was around $3,000. There had been rumors circulating that the cost of the second one was $30,000, so thank you for bringing clarity. $3,000 is an acceptable price to pay to ensure a safe exercise of our freedom of speech. Every president has taken actions that deserve a response to protests. Certainly the current one has. As 2/3 of you rely on the support of the Haverford Democratic Party, I note a few items from their social media posts about the event. First, it was nice to see an organizer and party leader holding an American flag. It reminds me of yard signs I've seen in nearby townships that say "Proud Patriotic Democrat." It's unfortunate for multiple reasons. Signs like that are needed. They likely come from a small fraction of the party and its exploitation by the other party. However, there were also multiple photos of the event posted that depicted violence towards the president, scatological references, genitals, and obscenity. The concern is that these are the signs that were chosen to be highlighted. Of course, I'm against any censorship of signs at an event. I appreciate that I was allowed to hold my "We Are Good People Who Support Stuff" sign when I went to No Kings 1 after some initial concerns by some members of the township government. One could argue that the abhorrent signs I mentioned above reflect language and actions that the president has used, but I'm reminded of a lesson that my parents have taught me in situations like this: be the better person. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hall. Ms. Dowdy.
Hi again, I'm still Dory Dowdy, Haverford Township. I'd like to address the Phase 1 of the zoning ordinance reorganization, specifically updating the creation of new definitions. At the April 9th Planning Commission meeting, Commissioner Angelo Capuzzi spent considerable time questioning the draft definition of the term family. He sought practical examples and clarification on limits involving unrelated persons, boarders, roomers, and lodgers. Township staff, including Director Jamie Jelosian and consultant Adam Texa, acknowledged some ambiguities and deferred them to Phase 2, the next phase. We're in Phase 1 right now. While the township and the 86-page supporting documentation repeatedly described this whole process as being, in Phase 1, as policy-neutral reorganization, changing existing definitions and creating entirely new ones is a substantive act. Definitions form the very foundation of how entire zoning code is interpreted and enforced in practice. By redefining key terms and adding new ones that did not exist before, this draft is effectively creating a new zoning code in substance, not merely cleaning up or reorganizing the old one. Given the inconsistent outreach we have already experienced with the postcards and short notice, most residents have not had a fair or adequate opportunity to carefully review these important changes. For the first major update in over 50 years, this work deserves far more robust public participation and careful review than what we have seen so far. I respectfully urge the board to require a much more thorough and open process for public participation on all updated and newly created definitions. My question going forward is, how will the township guarantee that every changed or newly created definition receives thorough public review, meaningful comment, and genuine opportunities for resident input before it is finalized, especially when the supporting materials continue to frame everything as purely policy neutral, and our current outreach methods have not been proven reliable. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to comment this evening during Citizens Forum? Yes.
Hi, my name is Brian Sprose, Ward 3. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm here today to discuss the proposed thought of a ban on gas-powered blowers. I'm wondering where you stand and how long that might take, because I know Lower Marion, it went through pretty quickly before the township really knew about it. Like many of you, I value innovation. I'm the first person to stand in line for any new piece of equipment that makes my life easier, more productive, less stressful on the body. However, based on the state of this technology, we're not there yet. It'll do the exact opposite. I'd like to highlight a couple points. Productivity of these blowers is roughly about 17 minutes when it's comparable, when it's wide open throttle. It would cost us roughly $14,000 per blower to replace anything that we have. The physical strain on this would just be ridiculous. We go from 26 pounds for our highest output blower to 36, 37 pounds. So 10 pounds extra every day, 8 hours a day. It would just put too much strain on me as it is. My priority is lifting my kids at the end of the day, and chronic pain will definitely kick in after that. It's already taken a toll. When I got into landscaping, I really looked at the older guy above me and said, I don't want to be hunched over like that guy. It's pretty much going to be unnecessary, and it might force me out. It just won't be worth it. I just urge you to vote against it if you ever do come to terms with it.
Thank you. I'm going to open up the entire floor. Does anybody else wish to speak this evening? Yes.
All right, my name's Nick. I got to give you guys some tough love. I will call it that to keep it PG. 99% sure I'm wasting my breath here because
And where are you
obviously.
from?
What's that?
Where are you from?
I don't live in the township, but I own a business that runs in the township.
Okay.
I used to live in the township. Glad I got out.
Yeah, we need your last name as well, sir.
Lynn Jetty.
Thank you.
I'm 99% sure I'm wasting my breath here because everybody knows the government isn't here to help the working class, and that's both sides, Democrats, Republicans. The dude in the corner, I thought it was a disgrace. He works for the taxpayer. He should be willingly to say, I'm sorry, nobody heard me. Let me come up and say it again. If you do the research on these blowers, you will understand that the dBs that they put out are almost the same. A gas-powered is 112, electric is 94 dBs. So, for some reason, we're being discriminated against when there's roofers, concrete guys, and other blue-collar jobs who make noise and nobody says anything. The emissions, you are exporting the emissions to a third world country via mining. It takes 2.5 to 3 years for the battery to pay off, emissions-wise, and I need 8 batteries per blower to make the same day. So you do the math. He said the weight, 26 to about 38 pounds, that I have to carry every day. Fire hazard, sitting in the heat in the sun, sitting in the heat in the trailer. You have mowers that get hot, they sit in the trailer. The trailer is 125 degrees. They're not spec'd to do that. The batteries aren't supposed to be in the heat like that. You can't put your phone in the sun, it'll blow up. We don't want to work weekends. Somebody else mentioned it earlier, but we have to. We have 7 months to make a living, to support a family. We have kids. You know, this is the land of opportunity. I should be able to work during daytime hours as I please. A $700 blower turns into a $14,000 blower. I have 5 of them, $75,000. Who's paying for that? It will be the customer. It will be line itemed for the customer. They're not going to like it, I'll tell you that. We work for elderly people who barely have the money to pay us as it is, and a lot of times we do pro bono for them because we feel bad. Some people, police officers, that have mothers in this township. The Electrify Committee that we sat in here for in March, the presentation that they gave us was terrible. They weren't comparing commercial grade to commercial grade. They were comparing homeowner stuff to commercial grade equipment. It was silly. You should consider having a committee of landscapers that can educate on our point of view. This is all Google stuff. You can Google all this stuff. Let's see what else we got. I would be willing to be a part of that committee to consult, as I'm sure some other people would. Forcing us to do this would be like forcing everybody to drive electric cars. Do you all drive electric cars? Exactly, because it's not feasible. If you have a short house, you gotta drive 100 miles, you're not sitting at Wawa for an hour to wait for your car to drive. I encourage you all to look at marine traffic and flight traffic. There's 1 million flights over our head. If you think emissions from a blower is really gonna change anything, you are out of your mind. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm opening it up once more. Anybody else in this audience wish to speak this evening? Okay, then I'm going to open up the floor to my colleagues at this time. Does anybody wish to respond to any of the remarks made this evening?
Madam President,
Yes, Commissioner McCollum.
you're not wasting your breath. I would never vote for that. We have 3 major highways going through this township, noise and air pollution. We have 2 golf courses. We have hundreds of tradesmen like yourself that have families. I can assure you, I would never vote for that. I'm tired of this township trying to be like Lower Merion. We're Haverford Township.
Thank you. Thank you. We're not doing it back and forth, though, but I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm going to open it up to my colleagues again.
So just to be abundantly clear, there's nothing about gas-powered mowers that was on the agenda tonight. There's nothing planned to be on the agenda next month. My understanding as to what has happened is that the Environmental Advisory Committee, which is an advisory committee made up of volunteers, just like our shade tree that we appointed somebody to, our zoning and planning, they made a presentation to the health board last month about ideas that they had based on the Lower Merion bill that was passed and multiple people referenced. And that is what has happened. There is an environmental advisory committee that has made a presentation to members of this board on that committee. There's nothing coming up to vote in the next month. There has been no vote this month. There was no vote last month. There was no vote at the Health Advisory Committee. Part of the issue, and it goes back to everything that Mr. Lee and Ms. Dowdy have talked about multiple times. Communication in 2026 is very difficult. I know there's been multiple things online. I've gotten many emails and calls. One of them may have been from you. There was people in the 3rd Ward who are landscapers who referenced things that they read online suggesting that we already voted on the bill, that it had already existed. Again, we can't respond to things that have not happened. It's not to say that it's not out there. There was an ordinance passed by Lower Merion that's going to go into a phased-in effect over the next 4 years. It's being discussed by other municipalities in southeastern Pennsylvania. The Environmental Advisory Committee is going to make a presentation at some point, probably on findings and doing research to its analysis of that Lower Merion bill. But that hasn't happened yet, and it certainly hasn't come up for a vote to be anything that we would pass at this point. I understand frustration because there's a lot of strong feelings on both sides, and certainly I can appreciate that there's a lot of people who live in Haverford Township that make their living from landscaping, and that's a very real thing, and certainly something that should be considered in anything that is done with this. And I don't know the full extent of what Lower Merion did, but that it should have been considered in that process as well. Again, we will go through a process if it ever gets to that point where there would be a vote. There would also be then 2 meetings where there would be public comments at both of those meetings. But again, it's hard for this board to respond to things that are not before us, that have not been vetted and are not understanding. And I'm sure all of my colleagues, and I understand Commissioner McCollum's perspective, but I don't know enough about this right now to say whether it is a great danger or not. I have to learn more about it, and that would take place before anything became before us for a vote. So that's where my understanding of where it is and how I view it.
Thank you, Commissioner McCluskey.
Could I make a quick comment, Madam President?
Please.
We're not discussing it, but I just would like to say publicly to Township Manager Berman, if we do discuss it and it becomes something that will come before us, I would request that we do have landscapers on any kind of advisory committee. Maybe it could be an ad hoc committee of some sort, because I do think that's important. My understanding is that it Lower Merion at least 2 years to come up with any kind of an ordinance that was passed, and that it's going to take 4 years for it to be phased in. So again, I agree with Commissioner McCluskey. I don't know enough about it either, but I do think if we go through it, there should be full engagement with the community, and that includes in particular landscapers who use the equipment and whose livelihoods are impacted by it. So, thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Cavender. Any other comments from my colleagues?
I can say that I have 3 real close friends who I'm real close with who are landscapers, and I've heard from them, and they gave me an earful, and I was shocked at first because I didn't even know about this was even a ban until they read it online. So they said they wouldn't be my friend anymore. So I think you know where I stand.
I'm amazed that you have friends, though. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Madam Clerk.
Go on, Commissioner Holmes.
First, I want to make a point about where this came from. You know, it starts with our Environmental Advisory Committee. I trust everybody in the audience listening and watching tonight understands that we want an environmental advisory committee full of people committed to the environment. We expect these folks to give us, to advocate for that. Our job is to sift through all that. Our job is to listen also to the folks that are affected by this. People know that I have a reputation after a number of years on this of liking, of taking national issues and injecting them locally. This is not one of those situations where I think 2-cycle engines are going to be banned one town at a time. It's not something that should happen at that level. It's something that should happen at the state or at the federal level. So those kinds of changes have far too great effect, and the difference of living on this block versus that block is just not fair as you go from town to consider something that really affects people's livelihoods. So while it isn't before me, and I'm not telling you that I wouldn't listen to the advice we get from our environmental people and listen to the advice we get from the folks who do this for a living, I guarantee how I would vote. But this is one of those things that is like you brought up, electric cars. This is not going to happen a block or a township or even a county at a time. This is really something that needs to be addressed at our national, at our state level. And I count on folks to do that. And I count on their leadership, and I count on folks who have positions in this to tell us their positions. But I'm not afraid to say right now, as much as I like to do at the local level, there are some things that are only fairly done on a much greater macroeconomic basis. And I think this is one of those things. And I don't like what Lower Merion did. And honestly, I think it sends a terrible message to those folks in Lower Merion who do that for a living. But the fact is that we in Haverford Township, we count on a lot of people in Haverford Township to work with us and for our parents and for our neighbors in our, in our lawns and in our neighborhoods and on our streets. And it's something I and all of my colleagues take very, very seriously. So I appreciate the comments and I appreciate the fire. But I just want folks to remember that when we're getting advice from these different groups, we want that advice from these people, and we expect it to be unfiltered, strong advocacy. And then it's up to us to sift through that and to hear input from folks. So I appreciate your input tonight, and I just want you to understand the context that all of this is coming from. So thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Holmes. Further comments, questions? I will just make a note about the zoning rewrite that the next planning commission is on May 14th at 7 p.m. That is another opportunity to offer your input and learn more about this. And in between now and then, please just take the time to review the zoning code, the draft zoning code proposal. Check haverfordzoning.com. And I can assure you, besides the township continuing to promote this effort, there'll be other commissioners bringing it up. So we'll move on to new business. I'll begin by sharing that today I was made aware of a really thoughtful letter sent to our police department recognizing officers for their compassionate and professional response to an individual in crisis. Chief Iola, I was wondering if you'd be willing to share a little bit more about this incident.
Yes, I would. Thank you, Commissioner. Yesterday afternoon, our officers responded to a mental health crisis in Haverford Township. It was a serious event. Our officers are all trained, CIT trained, so they put their training into effect, calmed the person down, and called the crisis team from Elwood to come in, which we do routinely. And I'll read this letter from the crisis worker because I think it tells it all, and with a great outcome. So it's, good morning, I work with mobile crisis team from Elwood. Since the closure of Crozier, tension has been high in the community due to the lack of services and resources. I just want to take the time to express my appreciation and gratitude to the police officers that responded to a 302 call, which is a mental health call for us, that occurred on 4/12 around 3 o'clock. The police officers that responded were polite, kind, courteous, and willing to help in any way that they could. I only noted that one officer in particular, because he saw his name, was Officer Jones, Jim Jones, as he was the first officer that I spoke to. As police officers, they are receiving so much pushback from the hospitals because everyone is overwhelmed. The individual was calm in his citrus card, but expressed that he did not want to go to the hospital, but was definitely in need of medical and mental health care. The officer came up with a plan that made the transport safe for everyone involved. I checked on the individual family later that evening, and they were grateful for the police and the way they treated them as well. I've responded to so many crisis situations, and it makes everything go smoothly when the first responders remember that we're all in the same team and have the same goal in common. Hats off to everyone in the police department that responded to that call yesterday. It's truly appreciated. It did not go unnoticed. And I felt that this should be shared because our officers respond to mental health calls on a regular basis, and support is lacking just because the system, and you've heard me say before, the mental health system is broke. We're working tirelessly to try and get more mental health workers out here. When the district attorney, Jack, our neighbor, was district attorney, we worked with county council, came up with a response team that worked at Haverford Township and Upper Darby as a crisis team. That contract has ended. We're working with another organization to bring that back up to speed again. But mental health is a difficult situation. Our officers work hard, and the goal is to keep everybody safe. So thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Is there any other new business? And hearing none, we'll move on to other business. This is a portion of our meeting during which commissioners may make their final remarks. We'll start with First Ward Commissioner Brian Gondek.
Thank you.
Commissioner Gondek.
Just a couple quick things. This past weekend, I had the pleasure and honor of attending Brookline softball and baseball's opening day. That was also the opening day for the other leagues, Hilltop and Caracong, the other leagues in the township. It was a beautiful day, and I'd like to say a special thank you to the township, to the police, and to the fire companies who all helped support those opening day festivities. With that being said, now that the baseball, softball leagues are all in full swing, I would just like to remind people that when they're going to take their children to the games or pick them up from the games or go to watch the games, to just be respectful and conscientious of the residents in those particular areas, specifically with where you happen to be parking. That being said, it was a beautiful weekend, and as the weather turns nice, I've noticed already a significant uptick in kids on motorized vehicles, whether they be skateboards or scooters or bicycles. I will just reiterate to anyone who is listening to this to make sure that your children are wearing the appropriate and in some cases mandatory safety gear, and just stress to them the importance of of following the rules of the road. I see a lot of these kids just zipping through red light stop signs, and it just creates a dangerous situation. So just have that talk with your children about safety. That being said, Pennsylvania's primary is coming up in May. Just as a general public service announcement, I believe May 4th is the last day to register to vote before the primary, which is May 19th. So if you're not already registered to vote, you do have some time to register to vote. And then finally, the only thing I would like to bring up is that on Monday, April 27th, I, myself, and Commissioner Trombetta will be holding a joint 1st and 4th Ward Town Hall. It's Monday, April 27th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. The meeting will be held at the Haverford Township Free Library in their conference room, which I believe is in the basement. We will be there along with some representatives from the township to give general updates and answer any questions. Fully encourage anyone who would like to come and attend and stay informed. And that's all I have for my announcements.
Thank you, Commissioner Gondak. We'll move on to Second Ward Commissioner Sherry Forsty-Grupp.
Thank you. Like Commissioner Gondik, I was going to remind everyone about the deadline to register to vote on May 4th. And just a reminder that the library is holding many events in celebration of our nation's 250th birthday. This past Sunday, actually just yesterday, they had a program called Democracy Out Loud, the expansion of voting rights in the United States. Laura Cavender and Greg Vitale were some of the people reading the preamble to the Constitution. And yes, and Jerry Hart got to read the Gettysburg Address, which is fabulous. I got to read a statement that Richard Nixon made in 1971, at the time that we were certifying the 26th Amendment to the Constitution that gave 18 to 21-year-olds the right to vote. So it's been a little over 50 years that 18 to 21-year-olds could vote in federal elections. And he had a couple really great lines in the speech that I just thought I'd share again. He talked about how the strength of America in this last century, in the last third of a century, and he's addressing this young group of people who are standing behind him who can finally vote. He says, the strength of America in this last third of a century, when you will be making the great decisions by your vote, and perhaps in your positions of leadership, that America's strength will always be used to bring peace and keep peace in the world. He goes a little bit further, and he says, the reason that I believe your generation, the 11 million new voters, will do so much for America at home is that you will infuse into this country some idealism, some courage, some stamina, some high moral purpose that this nation always needs, because a country throughout history, we find, goes through ebbs and flows of idealism. Time after time, the country needs an infusion of new spirit. And I thought that was a wonderful sentiment that President Nixon was articulating about how voting can help us to find our better angels, because the decisions we make at the ballot box do matter. The library, in addition, is having this coming Monday, on April 20th, a program that starts at 6:30 in the community room called Philadelphia Quakers in the American Revolution. So it's all about Philadelphia Quakers and their role in that fight for independence that we had against England. So lots and lots of great programs at the library in celebration of our 250th. So I hope you can maybe come out and take advantage of some of these. I also hope that you're taking advantage of our beautiful weather here in the township to see all those cherry trees that are blooming along the various streets. So thanks so much.
Thank you, Commissioner Forsty-Grupp. Move on to Fifth Ward Commissioner Laura Cavender.
Thank you. I want to announce that in Ward 5, we will be having a community meeting on May 12th at 6:30. We're going to discuss We'll have township staff there. The agenda is going to include the zoning ordinance first round revisions, polo field improvements, other recent items, including some Elwell Field improvements as well. I also want to share a few other updates on recent items, including the zoning ordinance. Haverfordzoning.com is where you can read all of the documents focused on the zoning ordinance. Again, this is focused on clarity, administrative efficiency, and I do appreciate the need for public comment and engagement, and I hope that we have a good turnout at the community meeting as well as at the Planning Commission meeting on May 14th. Commissioner Holmes and I have also talked about having another meeting solely on the zoning ordinance rewrite in this phase. So we'll look to plan something around that when we can. Buck Lane, after reviewing traffic data, safety observations, community feedback, and the guidance of our public safety officers and our director of community development, the township has decided to make Buck Lane a permanent one-way street with a pedestrian lane as it is now. It's been that way for about 8 months. And so the next phase will be to pursue funding for that change. It's not something that's included in our budget, so we'll be looking for grants to do that permanent infrastructure. So it's been a long community process, and I just want to thank residents who stayed engaged throughout that process. Polo field improvements, we do have new playground equipment that's being installed now for the use of residents. And then, as was referenced in the comments earlier, we will be, once we did hire a planner, it was the one that Brentford Civic recommended we hire. And at some point, once we get them on board, we will be having a meeting so that the planner can take some things into account, look at what we've done so far. And just to be clear, the resident surveys that were conducted, not just in December, right before the recommendations were made by the group after about 9 months of deliberation, but also over the course of about 3 years, we conducted a number of surveys, and they really are surprisingly consistent in terms of what people value in the park. There were some improvements that were exorbitantly expensive. We have $275,000, and for example, a walking trail would cost almost $400,000 and be a fairly significant incursion on the field. But like I said, we do have a planner that's been hired to help develop that long-term vision for the park, and I think that's going to be a big benefit. And then sometime after the town hall meeting that I'll be holding on the 12th, we're going to schedule an Elwell Field Trail Project meeting in the park to talk about that process for anybody interested. I think it'll primarily be for the people that live nearby and use the field. So that's for community members who want to stay closely engaged. And just a reminder that there is a Commissioner's Cup prize that will be awarded this Saturday at the Twilight Run. So I would just encourage Ward 5 to sign up and help bring home that Commissioner's Cup. So maybe I'll see some of you out there. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Cavender. We'll move on to 6th Ward Commissioner Larry Holmes.
Thanks. Just 3 things. One, Commissioner Cavender brought up the joint meeting the two of us will hold for our constituents about particularly about the zoning changes. We will schedule that and get that out to everybody. We will not mail it to Upper Darby. We'll just make sure everybody in 6 and 5 gets it. And I'll see what I can do to win that trust back. There was also a mention of the weather and motorized transports and kids being out. The longer the days get, the longer the sun stays out every day, the more kids are out, the more kids on bikes, the more kids playing baseball and everything else they're doing. So please, everybody out there, please drive carefully. There's a lot more folks out, especially after the brutal winter that we had. Finally, people mentioned the primary election coming up and the deadline for registering. And I would just, I just want to make this statement. It is political, but not, specific to a party. For anybody registering for the first time, or for anybody now who's registered as an independent, I make this pitch every year online, and I'm going to make it right now because I have this mic in front of me. Either return to the party that you were part of or go to the other party, but play a role in the primaries. It is important. Pennsylvania is not going to change its law anytime soon to allow independents to vote in party nominations each May. And it is the movement to the extremes of both parties that have made things much more difficult in terms of governing. And part of that is the exodus of reasonable people from the parties who think that being an independent voter, declaring themselves independent, makes the system better. I think it does make them feel better, perhaps about two parties they have problems with. But it does take away from those parties those moderating influences that are important. So I just ask, especially as we come into a very, very heated election season this year and no doubt 2 years from now, to think about that, to take that under consideration and consider whether or not returning to the party system may help it in the primary elect more reasonable people, so more reasonable candidates. So I just, I make that plea and wish you all a good month and see you at the next meeting.
Thank you, Commissioner Holmes. We'll move on to 7th Ward Commissioner Connor Quinn.
Thank you. And I was with Brian the other day, walking in the parade. It was nice to walk through the best ward in the town, the 7th Ward. So we were all thrilled about that. And when we got back here, I'm proud to say this year I dropped the ball once, but it was not filmed. So you guys all won't get to see it. And I caught all of the other balls. So that was good. And last week the the chief gave the update on the crime, and for some reason there was an uptick in the 7th Ward. So lock your cars. Make sure you lock your cars each and every night, and take everything out of there that is important to you, because you don't want to have that stolen. And as the weather gets warmer, that's what we start to see more. So we can help to stop that. And with the weather warm, you see cars flying down the street. And I know at Bailey Park, I see it every day. So I'd like to thank the police for all their help too, to help me with that. And I'm sure you get lots of calls and texts from me about that. So thank you for that. And it's always great to hear when we get those letters that you shared. It's a powerful thing, and a lot of people don't want to talk about mental health and stuff, and that's a thing that is really, the more that we can share about that, the easier it will get for everybody. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Quinn. We'll move on to 8th Ward Commissioner Jerry Hart.
Yeah, just a reminder that Ann's race is being held Wednesday, May 6th at 7 o'clock. It's at the Reserve. This is a 5K trail run, a 1-mile walk. It's an annual race that benefits pancreatic cancer research. It's certainly an important organization for my family and for many families in the township. Last year we raised nearly $10,000, and we're hoping to get over that this year. So again, May 6th, 7 o'clock at the Reserve, and you can sign up online at the Township Recreation website. A brief update on Brookline Park. The contractor has finished digging the rain garden. It hasn't been planted yet, but we're hoping to finish phase 1 with an official opening either late May or early June. The playground equipment is there. It's being used on a regular basis. I've been there with my grandsons. We'll do some more planting before the official opening, some trees, some grass seed. Also, the basketball court will be coated and the basket put up. There is a phase 2 plan, and we still do have some funds available, and we'll be working on those plans that hopefully we can start in the fall. And one proclamation we didn't have, April is National Poetry Month, and I did have a poem prepared, but in the interest of brevity, we'll skip that this month.
Thank you, Commissioner Hart. We'll move on to 9th Ward Commissioner Mike McCollum.
Thank you. I had the privilege to attend Hilltop Baseball, Softball, and Challenger League 62nd opening day on Saturday. Much like Commissioner Gondak said, loads of kids and families. Just be extremely careful around those parking lots. I was over there at Steel Field last night and creeping out of there. There was kids running all over the place, so please be careful. Also, just bear with the construction on Steel Road. They're getting towards the end of the Aqua utility work, and hopefully the next 3 to 4, maybe 5 weeks, they're going to start paving it from Eagle/Drexel Road back to Vermont Road. And I don't have any poems tonight.
Thank you. I'll turn it over to Vice President and 3rd Ward Commissioner Kevin McCluskey.
Yeah, just reiterate, please drive safely out there. I know everybody likes to talk about the scooters and the electrical machines that the children are riding these days, but we're all operating cars, and it's our responsibility to be safe too. So keep that in mind when you express frustration about the kids, and make sure you're going under 20, 25 miles per hour as well. I was just going to say that tonight, but I'm compelled to sort of just honestly say that tonight sort of highlights my biggest frustration is not the right word, but struggle, I guess, in this job, because it involves like communication, right? So there's two things where we talked, lots of people came up tonight talking about the flyers that went out and the errors that occurred with that, the communication that is required for any of the zoning work that's done. And then the second issue that was brought up tonight wasn't on our agenda is these gas-powered mowers. And I've, over the last month and a half, I've heard from so many residents that heard about something online or something on Facebook or something on, Snapchat or Twitter or wherever they heard about it. And it just highlights for me the struggle that we have as commissioners and the struggle that I know the township staff feel. I assure all of you that we want to communicate as much as possible to everyone. And we want to be successful. We want to reach all the residents. And all the residents have busy lives, and they have jobs, and they have kids, as the individual was talking about in terms of lifting up. And we have our own lives. So we understand that. You want to reach all these people, and you want to tell them all the stuff we're doing. And most people don't have time to come to every meeting that the commissioners have, or every meeting that the zoning or planning commission has. And then stuff gets missed. And then we have these meetings, and they happen 3 or 4 times a year, where we just have huge crowds that come in. And half the time people are so fired up about what they think we said, or what they think we were going to do, or what they think we were going to pass, or that we were going to be just like Lower Merion, or we're trying to be just like Lower Merion, or we're trying to be like Springfield, or we're going to, turn into Upper Darby, or we're going to just erect apartment buildings at every corner. And it's a struggle, because that's part of the job, and it's part of the deal. The residents and the citizenry have the right to express their opinions, to have their opinions known. And I don't have a perfect answer to say how we get that information to everybody on a weekly and a daily basis. We have YouTubes, we have these videos. But I just implore anybody who hears this at this point, or is in the audience tonight, or at some point hears this on Facebook or somewhere else, we want everyone to get the information. And if anybody has suggestions on how to do it, we just spent $50,000 to send out 2 postcards later this year. I don't know if that's right either, but it's an attempt to make sure people know about what we're doing. So I just ask that you see that we're trying, and that we want people to know this information. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner McCluskey. So first, I want to remind everyone that Discover Haverford Sip and Savor Soiree is this Friday, April 17th at Brick and Brew in Haverford. If you haven't already purchased your tickets, I encourage you to do so at this time. This is Discover Haverford's largest fundraiser of the year, and proceeds directly support an organization that works every day to strengthen economic development, beautify our business districts, and support our local small businesses. So I hope to see you all there. I also will give a shout out again to Commissioner Gondak, who has partnered with the host committee to allow it to happen at Brick and Brew. So thank you, Commissioner Gondek. I'll also mention that I'm pleased to be, he already mentioned it, but it bears repeating that I'm pleased to be partnering with him to bring the joint town hall to the library on April 27th at 7 p.m., right? I got the right date. April 27th at 7 p.m. So I hope to see residents of the 1st and 4th Ward in particular at that meeting. Finally, I wanted to use my time tonight to make residents aware that PECO has filed a request with the Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission seeking approval to significantly increase electric and natural gas rates beginning next year. If approved, the average household could see an increase of roughly $20 per month for electricity and about $14 per month for natural gas. At a time when families are already managing rising costs for housing, groceries, transportation, and healthcare, even modest increases like these add up quickly. For seniors on fixed incomes, working families, and residents already feeling stretched, it has the potential to have a real monthly impact on household budgets. It's important to understand that this is a proposed increase, not a final decision at this time. The Public Utility Commission will review the request, examine the justification, and accept public input before making a determination. That means residents do have a voice in this process. Comments from the public, participation in hearings, and direct engagement with the PUC all matter and are part of how these decisions are made. So I encourage anyone who's concerned about these proposed rate increases to learn more, stay informed, and consider making their voice heard through the Public Utility Commission's public comment process. And if you feel compelled to do so, you may wish to support efforts like House Bill 1834, which seeks to ensure that large-scale energy users such as data centers are not shifting additional costs onto residential ratepayers. This is exactly the kind of issue where public engagement makes a difference, so I encourage everyone to get involved. And as always, I'll continue to monitor this and share updates as they become available through my newsletter. And with that, any final comments from my colleagues on this board? And hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Thank you. The meeting's adjourned.